And Doeg was content that now the king was going to promote him. I was going to get some position, whatever he was going to get out of it, right? All right. And so Doeg is David wrote a psalm about it where he said about it in the psalm about what he did. He called it a lying tongue with coals of juniper, right? Because of what he did, right? He never thought. All he was thinking about was what he could get out of it. That's like Gehazi, right? That story Naaman. And he told his lies, right? Because I told you, in the Bible, I didn't say tell that he inquired of him about nothing, but he embellished it up to make it look, exciting before the king, and so the king could give him something for it. And the king, when he heard that, the king had said about kill the priest, he said, but, oh no, so what, the priest have to die? He said, no, I can't do that. And he said to him, but he went on there and slaughtered all of them. So the Bible said now, and one of the sons of Ahimelech, the son of Ahitub, named Abiathar, escaped and fled after David. And Abiathar showed David that Saul had slain the priest. Right? He found David where David was. And David said unto him, Abiathar, I knew it. You know when a person says something like this? He said, I just knew it, man. From the day I saw that man, I just knew the devil. You know? Like he said, I knew it, man. I knew it that day. Right? When Doeg the Edomite was there, that he would surely tell Saul. He said, I have occasioned the death of all the persons of thy father's house. You know? So from fear went to lies upon lies, and now the white lies became black lies. Okay? Because somebody who was evil and meant to do evil got in the middle of the whole thing. And that was Doeg. Because I'm pretty sure, as I said, he knew it. And if the king didn't promise him something, he wouldn't say anything. And there might have been other people who knew where David was. That's why Saul said, well, David must be somewhere. Some of you must know where he is. I hear news about him. But nobody's telling him. Because by this time, people realized that he wanted to kill David. And they knew that David was their favorite. He was a celebrity. Right? The name David means beloved. That's what my name means. So he was beloved. People, so what is this all about? So nobody would tell him. Till, as I said to you, well, all these lies were coming down, which were supposed to help to protect David. But now, an evil man, a son of the devil, get in the middle of it now. And he's going to link up with the spirit of the devil in Saul. And David is looking now and saying, my God. He said, my God, I can't believe this. I can't believe this. You're telling me that all your family is dead? Right? And the people are dead? Can't believe this. Can't believe this, right? Can't believe this. Can't believe this. And all he could say to Abiathar, he said, all right, just stay with me. Don't go anywhere. Stay with me. Because whoever is looking to kill you, they're looking to kill me. We are in the same boat right now. So let's just stay with me. Right? Stay with me. And the Bible said that Abiathar stayed with him all his days, and when he became king, he was also a priest, right? Before David, right? And the scripture tells you, you might say to yourself that the curse of Eli came upon them, right? But, and in truth and in fact, there were certain things that happened with Eli that the Bible said, God said would cut off from Eli. Cut off all because he was so evil. So the sins of their father Eli visited them this time. Because of an evil king, which came after, and an evil servant, evil king named King Saul, and an evil servant. Because you can't just say Doeg destroyed them, you know, because it was Saul who gave the order. So it was King Saul who authorized the destruction of all the house of Eli. Right? And that's because Israel rebelled against God and so they asked for a king. And what did Samuel tell him? He said, the day's gonna come when you're gonna take you and put you here, do this, that, do that, and you're gonna cry out to God for the king you're gonna have. Okay? And this was it. This was it. Exactly what Samuel said. But I said to you, Samuel knew the dynamics of everything. Right? And he knew that when the Bible said Saul wept before God over Samuel. I mean, Samuel wept before God over Saul. And the Bible said when he left him, he said, you didn't go back to look for him again. Right? Didn't go back. He said, you are rejected. He said, no, you cannot continue. So there he was now, running after David. Samuel knows what's going on. Jonathan knows what's going on. Michael knows what's going on. But here comes Ahimelech, he has no idea what's going on. And he got caught in the middle, right, of the whirlpool, right, the quicksand. He got caught in the middle of it. And he got the destruction really hard. So here it was, as I said to you. There's a lesson to learn out of these things. As I said to you, that don't get people involved in things that don't have anything to do with them. Because they might be acting innocently, thinking that they're doing the right thing or the best thing. But as I say, you conning them as you pull the wool over their eyes. Now, what David had done, right, even if Doeg was not there, right, later on, maybe Saul could find out, and they would still have been in trouble. The only thing that could save them if Saul was dead. Or if Jonathan was there, I'm sure if Jonathan was there, well, maybe he would have wanted to throw his javelin after Jonathan again. But, I don't know, but I'm pretty sure if Jonathan were there when this happened, he would have said no. He said, no, Daddy, put a stop to this. You know? And they say sometimes evil prevails when good men say nothing. Right? The soldiers we had told to destroy the priest, they wouldn't do it. But they also should have told Doeg, no, you can't do this. They should have tried to protect the priest. But they didn't protect the priest either. Right? They didn't. So it was good that they didn't want to attack the priest and kill him, but they didn't protect him either. That's why I tell you I love the spirit of Jonathan. Right? Jonathan did not agree with what his father was doing. And he told him point blank. He said, why do you want to kill David? He said, okay, he said, no. He said, the day when David killed Goliath, you yourself rejoiced. You were glad the same day too. So how you come to tell him you want to kill him? For what? Right? So he started to protect him. And that is very important. He started to uphold what was right. So as I'm not, it's good for you to say, well, you're going to say, no, I'm not going to get involved. Right? Because you're saying you know that is something wrong. But there's also a time you have to stand up and say, no, that is wrong. And to protect those who are innocent. And those who are vulnerable. Because they can't protect themselves. So those soldiers who would not kill a priest, they stood back from what Saul was saying. And Saul, but when they saw that they were helpless, and Doeg was going to kill him, if they had stood up and said, hey, Doeg, you back up, man. You know that he's a priest of God. How dare you? Alright? Then he would have to back up. But they had nobody to defend them. And I said, maybe Jonathan was there. I'm sure he would have said something and said, hey, no, can't go kill the priest. Back up Doeg. Right? And I'm sure not Doeg alone was killing the priest. He had people who were with him. They're so anxious to get olive yards and vineyards and positions and things from the king that they couldn't care less. They would do the most abominable things, right? That's why tyranny and all these things prevail in the world. Because they do the most abominable things, even though, and what they sow, they're going to reap. Come right back to them, right? Whether you be king or peasant, it comes right back to you. So it comes back to you. So Saul executed judgment, and he wiped out over people. And David now, this is where it comes down to reality. The bucket, bottom of the bucket fell out. David now has to deliver this for the rest of his life. So that, you know, the man was just trying to do good to me. And the man tried to help me. And because of me now, because of me alone, imagine how bad it must have felt inside him. Then all these people are dead. The families are dead. Eh? What am I going to do? What can I do again? Right? So David went out, and this was it. So David became a warrior to defend himself afterwards. And he had to get a little army, which the Bible calls the Kerethites and the Pelethites. Kerethites and Pelethites, right? Kerethites and Pelethites. But the point of the matter is that lies upon lies, white lies upon white lies became black lies. Okay? And as I was looking through the Word of God, I said, there's a serious lesson in this for us to learn. Serious lesson for us, because I always talk about things pertaining to eternity. And as we're children of God, we're waiting for the coming of the Lord, and we want to be ready when He comes, right? We have to be careful of lies. Stay away from lies. Speak the truth, whatever it is, right? If you find yourself in a situation where you don't know what to do, backed up like what David is, let God work it out for you. Because you try to work it out for yourself, right? You might just drop yourself into, you understand? David went over the Philistine country, thinking that would help. No, right? Almost lost his life over there, right? And then, as I said to you, he went to the priest. That was not a good decision. And I pray to God today that for every one of us, that God will help us, that we seek His guidance, His direction, to make good decisions. Because, you know, sometimes you're thinking to yourself that this is going to help, and it's not going to help, right? It's not going to help. As I said, when David fled and went to Samuel's house, now that was a good decision. You see? Samuel is the one who anointed him king. And if you want an understanding, instruction about what to do, of course, go to Samuel's house, right? And I'm sure, as I said, Samuel knew the dynamics. He knew what's going on. You know, Saul had dared to come to Samuel's house, but God struck him down there. Okay? So that was it. What did Israel ask for? They got more than what they had bargained for, right? When this king came upon them. He couldn't deliver them out of the hand of the Philistines, right? Basically a worthless king, right? And he fought a couple of battles, yes, but I mean, you know, the Bible tells you how they didn't even have their own weapons. They used to send down to the Philistine country to get their things sharpened and all this sort of thing. Look how stupid that was, right? How can you be sending to your enemy? you don't have anything for yourself. And David became king. And the first thing he said, no, this can't continue. You know, we have to mobilize our own self so we can have our army, we can have things to defend ourselves. Can't be dependent on the enemy. Okay? And for 40 days, Philistine Goliath stood up there and was cursing God and showing off himself. And Saul couldn't do anything. Right? None of them could do anything till David came. And when David came, David defeated the Philistine, And Saul was glad. He said, woo. And then he hear all the news why he was glad. But just because the woman sang and dances, and they ran, Saul said his 10,000, everyone said, David saved his 10,000, Saul saved his 10,000, David saved his 10,000, Saul saved his 10,000. And it was known throughout throughout the region, because even when David went to the Philistine country, they were talking about it. We heard about it. He said that this David, they used to dance and sing. Yeah, it was him saying one is. But David, I'm saying to you, just because he got, and he never told nobody about 10,000 and 1,000, you know. David was never going to say the Philistine because, no, right? And it's just what the people were singing, because as far as we know from the story, the only Philistine that David really killed was Goliath. The rest of the army took care of the rest of them, and David just stood there and didn't have to do anything more, really. Right? But, of course, there were other battles David would fight afterward, because he had to fight battles in order to get that princess. You know. Although he should have got the princess straight off after he killed Goliath, but Saul deceived him, and he never got the princess. He gave her to somebody else. Then he said, oh, you have to go out and fight my battles more, then I give you the next daughter. And then David said, okay. And he did what I told him, and then he got the wife. It was an expensive wife, right? He had to do it all together, right? And then he got the wife this time now, and of course now, I'm saying to you, he didn't know what's going to happen to his life, right? Okay? Because Saul is like he's trying to make him feel good, but he's trying to pull him into a net, right? Pull him in a net. He said, my daughter will seduce him, and so I'll be able to get him. And so that's why he was so mad with her. He said, well, listen, girl, you know I would set you up so that I could kill this man, and you make the man get out of my hand. Right? So David was treated left, right, and center. Cheated with the first daughter, cheated with the prize, cheated now. He got the wife, yes, but the wife he was getting was only a plan that Saul had so he could kill him. And the whole of his life is in a muddle. And who he think is friends are enemies. Right? And one friend here was Jonathan. Jonathan stood up for him. Right? So the Bible tells you that they made a covenant, and David was true to that covenant. You know? So we need to learn a lesson from this. Right? Don't get people involved in things that don't have anything to do with them. Right? To you, you might think it's like a white lie, no big deal, man. Okay, but later on, okay, somebody come and they get killed or whatever, and then you say, but so I didn't know anything, they were innocent, right? Fear, see, breed lies, right? And from the lies come destruction. There's a lot of fear in the world today, and there are a lot of lies being told to us too, okay? And all that is going to come out of it is destruction. It's happening already, and more of it is going to happen. Fear breeds lies, and the lies breed destruction. So may God help us. As I said to you, I'm going to go back to where I started with. I said, focus your eyes on the prophecies and the things pertaining to the end of time and what is happening in the Middle East, where Israel, the nation of Israel is. Okay? Focus your eyes on that. Don't get yourself distracted with this COVID plague that's going on. All day long you've been just hearing about. Because Israel is in a serious, serious position. Right? Very serious position right now. And the enemies are set to wipe them off of the face of the map. They said it, and they're going to do it, and they're working towards it. Day by day, moment by moment. And they're sitting down in meetings and planning and laughing about these things, and they have things drawn up. And they said, you know, we're gonna hit them, right? Okay? And so Israel is a small nation, able to defend itself, but not against what they set it up against. not what they're setting up against. So many missiles, they can destroy every little iota of Israel. Okay? Oh my God. So may God help us. I'm telling you that we need to be watchful. As a thief in the night, the Lord says, come, you're going to come. And he said, such an hour you think not. People are thinking today, I want things to go back to normal. I want to be able to go back to the ball game. I want to be this and I want to go back. I want to be able to do this or to do that. Yeah, fine. Go back to your ball game, go back to whatever. Right? The things we're doing, we're not preparing us for the coming of the Lord. And the handwriting is on the wall. Remember we did that study about with Belshazzar? He heard handwriting was the wall. And when he heard what it meant, Belshazzar said, oh, me. He said, our kingdom. He said, no. But that night, because his enemies were upon him at the time when Daniel was speaking. Right? Enemies were right upon him. Right upon him. Right? Right under his tail as well. Okay? Israel don't even know who the enemy now, they're the friend as well. Right? And if you remember when Anwar Sadat from Egypt made a peace treaty with Israel. Right? The Arabs were mad with him for it. Right? There's a nation here, Czechoslovakia, I think it was this week, they recognized Israel, Jerusalem as for the embassy. And one of these nations, I think it was Turkey, told them, don't do it. They said they made an arrangement with President Trump for this to be done, and they can't back out of it. And they warned them, they said, don't do it. So they still did it. Right? And the point I'm making is this, that when they make leagues, as they said they're making now, when Anwar Sadat made that thing with Egypt, what did they do? They assassinated Anwar Sadat. And what happened afterward? The peace treaty died with him. That's it. It died with him. And until this day, it never came back. Never come back. When was that year again? It was 1970, I can't remember. But yeah, the peace treaty died with Anwar Sadat. Because the leader made that rule. When the next one came up afterward, he didn't honor it. You see? So Israel don't know who their friends are, or who are whatever. Who pretend to be friends will be enemies, or could be enemies tomorrow. If somebody assassinates that leader, then what happened? The peace treaty is dead. See what I'm saying? And these nations don't operate like the United States. And I mean, even here it could happen too. Right? But if one president make an agreement, arrangement with one nation, the other one expected to honor it, okay? But he could decide that he want to pull out of it. He could happen here, even in America, right? Much more in these countries where they don't have a democracy and all these kind of things. So I'm saying to you, Israel doesn't even know who is with them now, okay? But we have been told, the Bible said, must pray for the peace of Jerusalem. A lot of evil and a lot of trouble is hanging over Israel. Okay? But the Lord will defend the land. And the people will be defended too, but it's not so much the people, it's the land. You understand? The land. The land belongs to God, it's sacred. Remember I said that God drove them out of that land because he said, you defiled my land. This land belongs to me. You have unholy things going on, you can't go. You ran them out of the country. When they came back, they're supposed to learn from their father's sins and do what is right. Okay? But the land is sacred before God. And God is jealous for his land. So, right now I have a song I want to sing. Oh my God. I don't know, with all I've spoken about with David and this whole thing, I just hope that we have learned a lesson from it. Right? About fear that brings lies, and we keep telling lies, and lies and lies. Be careful, because the bucket, right? The bottom of the bucket is going to fall out one day. And then, as we were talking there, when water is spilled, and not, you can do again. Spilled out, right? Nothing, you know, it just, it's gone, right? So it was that destruction came out of it, and there was grief and sorrow and pain and distress. We are in a serious time as we prepare for the coming of the Lord. I said, pay attention to what's going on in that circle there, at the Middle East. That's where it all began. That's where it's going to end for this Gentile time. Luke 21, Jerusalem shall be trodden down of the Gentiles until the time of the Gentiles be fulfilled. All right? So pay attention to those things. Oh God, I don't know. When I was singing earlier, I was feeling so like excited, like charged up, that kind of thing. But now I'm in a somber mood, and I hope you are too, right? Because not all the while, some people get excitement about worship, it's about, you know, the up and up and up and the jumping and all that sort of thing. We have to be in a somber mood sometimes, be serious, be sober, right? And to consider what is before you. Because Moses said, it's your life, right? Without it, you don't exist. It's our life, right? And not just a life, but eternal life this time. Because I said when Jesus came the first time, the wise men came saying, where is he that is born King of the Jews? For we have seen his star in the east and come to worship him. So the king was there, and the people there didn't know. But this time when the king comes, there'll be nobody to come and tell you, oh, you know, Jerusalem, you know, there's a king, Jesus in Jerusalem. No. Everybody's going to know, and they're going to see, and it's going to be too late if you're not ready. If we are not ready. So may God help us to be ready when the coming of the Lord is nigh at hand. Right? And I'm telling you, don't be there looking, thinking that, you know, you want things to go back to normal. You know, there is no normal, really. What we really want is for Jesus to come, and then we will get eternal, right? And as I said, we will always be talking about eternity and open pure Bible. There's nothing else we'll talk about. Nothing else we'll talk about eternity. And that's where God is saying, focus your eyes right there and stay right there. Set your telescope on that star and constantly be looking at it, right? Set the telescope right there, okay? Set the telescope.